As you wake up in the morning, you want to find the latest, greatest information about criminal cases and have an intuitive conversation about the suspects associated with these cases. Head over to the Bullhorn Betty channel on YouTube. Get breaking news right here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club. Enjoy your stay and enjoy your day.
From the East Coast to the West Coast, we are everywhere true crime is. We are asking for the public's help. We are searching in the woods. We are doing what it takes here on the Bullhorn Betty channels to find answers to the most alarming cases we have been watching on the news. I can tell you personally that I have traveled this entire country seeking these answers and bringing that content right here to you here on the Bullhorn Betty channels and Bullhorn Betty Crime Stories. We are happy with the work that we've done. We've brought many answers to the public, and we have defied mainstream media in our pursuit of the truth in these cases. We will continue to work, we will continue to fight for these victims, and we will continue to tell their stories here on my channels. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty brand of channels and the Coffee Club. Thank you for your love, thank you for your support, and more importantly, thank you for allowing me to bring these victims' stories to each and every one of you, advocating for each of these victims. God bless you. God bless America, and more importantly, God bless our victims. So, good afternoon to my flower power. It's nice to see you all up in the chat today. We've got a lot to go over, so I doubt I'm going to get to everything. I'm going to try to get to the stories that are pulling down on the lag first. I always know which ones they are, so we're going to get started right into this. But I want to say good afternoon to everybody. So Melanie, it's nice to see you here. The Real Me Too. Lisa B. Always. I love it. Nice to see you. Welcome back. Welcome back. Oh, I've got other stuff on here. There we go. We can hit a button here. Let me turn my other buttons on. This is what generates the other buttons, the other phone. And then we can do something like that. There we go. Much better. Much better. We see you. Phil, it's nice to see you. Up in the chat, Don, Detective Whiskers, GG for life. Hey. Denise, it's nice to see you. Peggy, good afternoon. Rebecca. Brenda Sue, Show Poodles, good butt crack of the noon. Chili Gulf Coast. Yes, Show Poodles. It is. I've been bundled up. I went out there a little while ago because Delilah's got to go out. You know, whether mom's cold or not, she still has to go out. She loves it. And she loves her friend next door. So, you know, we got to go say hi to the neighbor, right? And it was pretty chilly out there. He said it was going to get to, what did he say? He said it's supposed to be 74 today, and that was at noon. And I'm like, you honestly think it's going, that's what I looked at. I said, you honestly think it's going to move 14 degrees in a couple hours or a few hours or whatever it was? And he's like, I'm just telling you what they said. I'm like, okay. It's pretty chilly. Michael, it's nice to see you. True Crime Junkie. Happy Gal Brenda, it's nice to see you. Sadie from across the pond. Hey. B Betty fans, nice to see you. Jamie, hello. Maki Girl, hello everyone. Kendra, it's nice to see you. D Real. Lisa C saying, hey everyone, nice to see you. Who else do we have? We got Julie up in the house. Julie, artfully open. It's nice to see you. Mari, Kari, Cami. Is it Mary, Carrie, Cami? Nice to see you. One of the. I'm sure one of them is right. Hey, chicken lady, love your channel. Thank you so much. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button. We've got show poodles at 23. As a matter of fact, since all of our, I saw a little sign with all the tail lights leaving, and they're saying, thank you for visiting, and under it, it's like the snowbirds are leaving. So maybe it's time to get a pulse from around the country. So if you guys hit the thumbs up button, let me know what number you are, and let me know what part of the world you're calling or you're visiting from, and what the temperature is. Maybe we can get a gauge on where the warm climate is. Kim G, it's nice to see you. Hey, crazy cat lady. Hey, Andrea, it's nice to see you, love. Southern Grammy crochets, love it. I hope you're doing well. TL is up in the house. Hope floats. Hey. What else do we have here? Hey. We got Laura. It's nice to see you, Laura. Who else? And Caring Spirit. It's nice to see you all. I hope you guys are doing well today. So we're going to come right out. Phil, are you in the chat? This one's for you, babe. This one's for you. Not that I disliked Rosie O'Donnell. I don't dislike her. Listen, who doesn't like a great daytime talk host that does stuff? I loved watching the Rosie O'Donnell show. Okay, I'm not biased when it comes to Rosie O'Donnell. I promise you, I'm not. I used to think she was a great lady, right? But she ran away from America because she thinks it's unsafe because the rules don't like everybody's created equally. Okay, trust me. I watched her back, and do you think I give a crap who her girlfriend is? I don't care. I liked her when she was normal. I'm sorry, guys. I liked her when she was normal, and she's running away from the country now. Mind you, this is the same woman that has a daughter that is completely, utterly substance addicted, that had her grandchildren crawling around on, hypodermic things. And she runs off with her 12-year-old child to Ireland. This might offend some people. With what I'm about to say. And I'm perfectly okay. Be offended. Hasn't she screwed up enough kids? Who in the hell is giving this woman more kids? I'm just saying. Oh, no. This is Rosie O'Donnell. This is Rosie O'Donnell, okay? Rosie O'Donnell. She is a joke now, okay? She went from a beloved person to allowing a comment that one dude said to her literally rock her forever boat. Like she hasn't shook it yet. This happened over 20 years ago. I just want to put this into perspective, okay? This woman has lost her ever-loving mind for some... Bill says, please take her back. She lost her ever-loving mind over a comment this guy says to her. Do you know, I'm telling you, if I lost my cookies or literally went on the crazy insane bus for 20 years after some random dude says some derogatory crap about me publicly, oh my God. I'm done. Put a fork in it. So enjoy, Phil. Enjoy. But she's such a selfish person. She really is a selfish person. She's not thinking of her grandchildren. She's not thinking of anything. She's thinking of, Yeah, and you know what? I'm sorry. She ran away awfully quick after Donald Trump got into office and Doge started doing what they're doing. I'm wondering if we're going to see some payments to Rosie O'Donnell at any moment. I'll wait. Why do I feel? Because I don't know how the lady's making money now. I really don't. It must be that nonprofit, racket that these celebs now have, right? They're millionaires or act like millionaires, but when they don't have, we don't understand how do they keep making money when they ain't working in Hollywood. And then we find out every one of them has nonprofits along with all the damn politicians. So they're just raking in free money from the taxpayers. Hey, we're gonna help. We're gonna help the kids in Cambodia. It's for the kids. Meanwhile, a church over there gets maybe 2% of whatever's collected. Meanwhile, the movie star and rich politician gets the 96% in their bank account. Oh my goodness. I don't know how it took us so long to connect the dots. I don't know. That's my political rant. I'm glad she's kind of out of here. The good news is she's losing weight. She publicly stated that in this article. She's losing some weight. She went over there. She lost her cook. And decided she wanted to go out clothes shopping. And she was pleasantly surprised to find out the move is actually healthy for her as well. She had to get it. I don't know how many downsize she would if it was just one size or if it was 5 size. I don't know. She just said she lost weight. So I think the move is healthy and beneficial for her. And at the end of the day, that's truly what we want, isn't it? A healthy and beneficial, person. Maybe she can fix the crazy that's coming out of her and vomiting all over her adopted kids. Maybe she can help them instead of helping herself. I'm just saying a move to Ireland is pretty costly. And I would think that she'd be more worried. And I noticed that she only went with her 12-year-old son. So that means where are her grandkids? Why is this wealthy lady that has money to move the country hop not taking care of her family? She's so burnt and bent over some dude saying something nasty about her. Well, I'm sorry. But most people take care of theirs, right? It's a forever thing, isn't it? Isn't your kids a forever thing? I don't know. So there was some shocking news that we had. We covered these boys right here. They're twin brothers. They were supposed to go to Boston and visit friends. They were heading to the airport, and then all of a sudden, some hikers just stumble across their body on a place they've never been before. And law enforcement's initial observations were that it's potentially a murder suicide. And the family has come out and said, wait a minute, this is no we've never even seen these boys get into a fight. We've never seen these boys get into a fight. How in the world is it possible that these boys, not only you're saying one unalive the other and then unalive themselves on a mountain that they've never been to before? And here's the kicker. That Boston trip, their plane tickets still in their wallets. That doesn't sound like these kids had other plans, like a murder suicide, if you ask me. And so I have been trying to advocate and get this case out there because there is something that stinks to a little, not that it's law enforcement's fault. That's not what I'm saying. Some people that perpetrate these types of crimes, set the scene, right? So we want to trust the process, but we also want to make sure that this family is well represented on social media and in mainstream media. It sounds like these boys were loving kids, had their whole life ahead of them. It sounds like they were raised right. We talk about so many children on here that come from broken homes, bad homes, start going toward drugs and violence. We've covered the case of Layla Santinello. We have a case here in Florida, in Sarasota, of a mom that has an adult daughter that was homeless and on drugs and took 6 months to report them missing. we talk about a lot of crime on here. And when we have children that are good, that are doing well, and something happens to them, it's a shocker. And I have to imagine, obviously no child is perfect, right? Even our best children, even the sweetest adults that we have, they had experiences and had to do some things. Yeah, maybe they learned about getting in trouble and didn't do those things a lot sooner than some other ones of us. But at the end of the day, we go through a growing process. So I'm not going to say these kids were perfect or anything like that. I don't know them, but their families seem to talk about all the right things, the support system that they had, which was a little odd because it makes me feel like they must have lost somebody close to them when they talked about the support system. I don't know why I got that feeling, but at the end of the day, it sounds like they were a united family. They had their aunts, their uncles there, and some other things, but nobody had ever heard them be nasty, rude, violent. And then they're the family's thinking they're going to visit friends out of town, and both of them wind up dead on a mountain, shot in the head, and their plane tickets still in their wallet. So I have to, try to give them or amplify the family's voice when it comes to these boys. And so this is, if I remember, Nazir and I apologize, Kadir and Nazir Lewis. And again, just their family describes and have such great memories of these boys, but something isn't right. So there was some firing of, first responders in this case, and it kind of put a spin in social media and on mainstream media, where people were kind of thinking that the officers or something, did something wrong, which they did do something wrong, but it really, and it did go to the integrity of the investigation. So major foul. But there were some volunteer firefighters that went up to the boys, as part of the volunteer firefighting, unit, and recorded what they saw, which in and of itself is, some people consider it tasteful, distasteful, whatever your feeling is on it. Me personally, I'm in true crime. If I saw something like that, yeah, I'd probably record it. Okay. I'm sure there's going to be some selective outrage on that, and I really don't care. I'm just being honest. So if I were to come across that, but the long story short is they're volunteer firefighters, and even if they do, which a lot of law enforcement and first responders do use their phones to record evidence and information, and so I don't really have a problem so much with that. My problem lies is with the dissemination of that. And so it was disseminated across social media somehow. I have not seen them. It appears that they have been scrubbed off the internet. If they are, I didn't look for it. I will be honest, I didn't even try to look for it. But I know that it exists because two volunteer firefighters were let go as a result of their conduct and lack of I don't know. I just think I think people don't think of one thing, the repercussions of their actions when they're at a scene like this. I mean, I think that is important because one, there's a family, a real family. This is much different than this is much different than a case that happened 20 or 30 years ago. Okay. This is something that's an active investigation, which, as a volunteer firefighter, I would hope that the volunteer firefighters know that maintaining the integrity of any investigation is really paramount to sharing for clicks and views. And I think that it was irresponsible of them for sharing that. Now, if they were going to hand anything over to anybody that they recorded, I would have hoped the first approach would be the family, because whether the family wants to see it or not, there are some family members that have that want to know what happened and want to analyze it, just like many of us would want to, right? We would want to look at the crime scene, see where the evidence is, see where the placement of the gun is, see where the shell casings are, analyze the case. And there are some families that do that. And I will tell you, I know that for a fact, because again, I've been perusing this one case for several months now. I just haven't had an opportunity to schedule a time or a date to go out and meet with the parents and stuff like that. But, with that, an autopsy was provided, and it had very, very challenging photos that went with it, along with a toxicology report, and just looking at the scene, looking at the body, looking at the investigative work. It's shocking to some, but some that can put the shock behind them and look at it in an investigative mindset, then, and that's where I'm at. So it's not something I would put on the show at all. It's not something I would make public. It would be something that I used to help and aid in the work that I'm doing. And some of the stuff that I do behind the scenes is pretty, it's pretty rough stuff. So obviously we protect our audience as much as possible, right? But that would garner a lot of useful information for their private investigator or something else. But that would have been if they were going to release it to anybody, and I think that comes. But I being a first responder in an active investigation, they should have known better than to ever release any footage of a crime scene. And whether or not it's as a murder suicide, it's still a crime scene because of the part of murder, right? And they still have to do a full investigation, and you're leaking out the biggest key piece of evidence that they have. So if you've heard anything about arrests being made in the case, yes, there were arrests made in the case. Yes, there were some people I don't know if they were arrested. I think, yes, they have been charged. They've been charged with obstruction. So they were arrested, but they're not directly linked to the boy's homicide or unaliving. So, distasteful, yes, I would say in the grand scheme of things. I was just talking about the racket we've got in Hollywood and with our politicians around this country and these nonprofit organizations that are really just organizations to defraud people and collect and embezzle money. It really is just like that. And this is somebody that is in the hip hop world and has been accused of murder and extortion, according to the Department of Justice. And again, this comes down, you'll be hearing some key things. If you've noticed, whenever I do go into our a political criminal type of coverage of cases, there are certain things that I am highlighting when I go over these. And it's trying to show you, the public, the racket. Because all of these things are intertwined. It's like there's this playbook out there of how to scam and defraud lawfully and legally, right? There was always a joke that went around, like, you can be the biggest drug dealer as long as you pay your taxes, okay? And some people may laugh at that, but there is almost a truth behind it. As long as you pay your taxes, you can be the biggest drug dealer you want to be. You can be the biggest criminal you need to be. Just pay your taxes, right? So they create criminal enterprises that look like legitimate businesses to, pay their taxes, right? And this is a good story. Excuse me. Every time I talk, excuse me, let me just clear my throat. Yeah, every time I get talking too much, it's something goes on with the throat. I got to remember. I just got to stop and clear it. Just stop and clear it. So this is kind of a hip hop. I don't want to say he's a hip hop mogul, because in all fairness, I haven't heard of him, but he sounds like he's a big deal. But again, I'm not like a huge hip hop fan. Back when I was in the 90s and stuff, I like to, be at the clubs and, be with my friends and, you get it, right? I don't have to embarrass myself anymore. But I haven't been in, listen to the music, but I don't really listen to any music in all fairness. And I don't really, I don't know who the who is. If they're people I knew from back when I paid attention to all this nonsense, then I know them. If they weren't big whenever I paid attention to all this nonsense, then I don't know them. And so this just happens to be one, and I seen a picture of him. Let me pause this. I seen a picture of this guy, and it's not somebody that I recognize, but he's also, an older gentleman. Hip hop entertainer Eugene Big U Henley Jr. is accused of murder and extortion. And I'm going to read this because I think it's interesting, but I'm not really focused so much on the story, but I am focused on the nonprofit. So there is a nonprofit mixed up in this as well. Federal authorities are searching for a longtime leader of the South Los Angeles based gang who has been posing as an entertainment entrepreneur and community activist. He is wanted in connection for the murder in 2021, as well as a series of other racketeering activities linked to a criminal enterprise he allegedly operated. Eugene Henley Jr., also known as Big U, is considered a fugitive following an indictment filed on Wednesday by the U.S. Attorney's Office for Central District of California. The 58-year-old was charged with conspiracy to violate the Racketeering Influence and Corruption Organization Act, the ringleader of the Rollin' 60s. So, I there he is, a little bit older. He's got the gray hair and the beard. He looks like he could be a mean guy, but he also looks like he could be a baseball player or a football player. I would be none the wiser thinking that this guy looking like that is a ringleader of a gang or a drug organization, let alone a criminal enterprise to boot. The ringleader of the Rollin' 60s neighborhood Crips, Henley, and his gang were involved in extortion, human trafficking, fraud, and the killing, the 2021 killing of an aspiring rap musician, according to the U.S. Attorney's Office. Allegations in the complaint, unsealed today, revealed a criminal enterprise that engaged in murder, extortion, HT, and fraud, all led by a supposed anti-gang activist and purported music entrepreneur who was nothing more than a violent street criminal. And I guarantee there are more people in Hollywood and other people, A, B, C, D, and E celebrity rating that are involved in these nonprofit schemes across this country that just shuffle their money around, for whatever. And in this case, he could be shuffling money from his substance sales. Acting U.S. Attorney Pac McNally said on Wednesday, in addition to Henley, two other members of the crime ring, Sylvester Robinson, 59, yes, like I said, older people, you would think people in their 50s know better, but these must be the thugs from my time that are now, now getting older. They don't have what they used to have, right? They're slipping. Known as V, I don't know. Mark Martin, known as Bear Claw, were both arrested on the same criminal complaint on Wednesday, the U.S. Attorney's Office added. For the last 24 hours, 10 alleged Rolling 60 members and associates have been charged with numerous federal crimes, including drug trafficking, racketeering, conspiracy, and firearm offenses. The Justice Department said. Authorities are seeking the whereabouts of 5 other alleged members, including Henley and another man, who have both been deemed fugitives by the U.S. Attorney's Office. They're on the run, guys. That's why we're showing you. We got bad guys on the run. The federal complaint Henley operated a mafia-like organization. According to the federal criminal complaint, Henley operated a mafia-like organization that used his, among other street gangs, to intimidate businesses and individuals in Los Angeles. Listen to that. Mafia-like organization that used his, among other street gangs, to intimidate businesses and individuals in Los Angeles. The organization allegedly led by Henley, his name Big U Enterprise, which partnered with Roland 60s and other for mutual benefit, the U.S. Attorney's Office said. Henley is widely regarded as a leader within the Rolling 60s and rose to prominence in the street gang during the 1980s. Big U Enterprise, which acted as a distinct and independent criminal enterprise, engaged in various crimes, including murder, extortion, robbery, racketeering, trafficking, exploitation of sex workers, fraud, illegal gambling, and probably more, according to the complaint. Defense attorneys were not listed in court for any of the alleged gang members named on the indictment. The federal authority says Big U shot an aspiring musician in the head and hid his body. The Justice Department said a criminal enterprise is responsible for the murder of an up-and-coming musician identified in the complaint as R.W. The musician was signed to Henley and Martin's record label, Unseen Music, which paid R.W. to travel to Las Vegas to work with an unidentified Grammy Award-winning music producer's studio shortly before his murder in January of 2021, the complaint says. R.W.'s murder stems from the musician recording a diss song about Henley, which prompted the alleged gang leader and Robinson to travel to Las Vegas, confront the musician, according to the complaint. Henley allegedly drove R.W. to North Las Vegas, shot him in the head, dragged his body off Interstate 15 into a desert, and left his remains in a ditch, according to the court documents. This is disgusting, guys. But we're still getting there. I want to read this. When Henley and Robinson returned to Los Angeles, he ordered the studio workers to leave while an associate removed security surveillance footage from the studio, according to the Justice Department. Then he allegedly ordered witnesses not to speak with police about R.W.'s murder, the complaint reads. Big U allegedly defrauded the U.S. government, nonprofit donors. In addition to the violent crimes alleged against Henley, federal authorities believe he's tried to game the government by submitting a fraudulent application for a COVID-19 pandemic relief loan. Henley claimed that Unseen Music was operating at a $200,000 profit in 2019, despite suffering a $5,000 loss that year, which should disqualify the label from the loan eligibility, according to the Justice Department. So he fraudulized that and probably got money from our COVID money. Again, taxpayer money. Big U Enterprises also accused of defrauding donors who gave money to nonprofit entities under the control of the alleged criminal enterprise, including Henley's own charity, Developing Options, whose mission was to what? Deter teens from gang violence, drugs, criminal activity, the complaint says. Instead of putting the large donations, which came from celebrities, NBA players, and award-winning companies toward his charity, Big U embezzled the funds and converted the money to his personal bank account, the U.S. Attorney's Office said. The charity was also used as a front for members of his enterprise so they could stay under law enforcement's radar, the complaint alleges. So there you have it. And trust me, this is going on all over the place. And my question is we're hearing that other politicians have received $2 billion of our money, but I haven't seen them get arrested yet. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I want our $2 billion back. I'd like to know that mommies and daddies can take a vacation instead of it going into a slimy woman's freaking personal bank account. Bill allocating 15 millions to child abuse. Now, here in Florida, I'm very proud of how much we work to advocate and to protect our children. It's something that I'm very proud of in the state of Florida. And I feel like in the majority of a lot of situations, just like every state, well, I shouldn't say like every state. In the majority of the times, I feel like we get it like right. But just like the majority of other states, we still have a lot of work to do. There are still children falling through the cracks, and it's very, very heartbreaking. I was just watching I don't know if it was a news segment of something, and maybe it was Court TV. But anyways, people in the neighborhood was hearing a child being beaten, and they called it in and kept calling it into law enforcement in San Antonio. And they came out like one time out of all the calls, and lo and behold, the mom, and I think we might have read it on this show. It might have been something I read in preparation of this show, but never covered. Never covered. But I might have. I can't remember. And this person beat this 5-year-old girl to death. And he's in jail, but the problem is so many people from that apartment complex called it in. They did what they could do. They kept calling, kept calling, kept calling, and nothing was done. Nothing was done. They had their family on the interview, and they said the mom, for whatever reason, really kind of was very nurturing to her firstborn, but really disliked her second child. She talked to the family about not being as connected to her. They just treated her much different. And the boyfriend that she moved into abused that girl literally to death. They are charging him, I think, with torture. It was really, really, really horrific. And so we don't want any of our states to have stories like that, though they do happen. And this right here is something where I feel like we're taking responsibility, at least in this particular case. But this particular case here in Florida, one, was totally preventable, and two, well, it's a sad case too, but it should have never happened. And it when I read it, it almost reminded me a little bit about the story of the 5-year-old that I had just learned of. I think it was yesterday or the day before. And this is related to a bill allocation, which I think is really important. So we're allocating $15 million to child abuse victims advance through First Committee. Something terrible went wrong with this process, and the state got to work to fix it, and we're working on it. That I believe. The Civil Justice and Claims Subcommittee unanimously advanced a bill 15-0 that's seeking a settlement for almost $15 million for the failure of the state to protect a child from severe abuse that left her permanently disabled. Vero Beach Republican Robbie Brackett presented a measure, House Bill 6531, and detailed the tragic events that led to the bill being filed, including the Department of Children and Family Services failures in 2017 to protect an 18-month-old child. Members of HB 6531 is a claim bill based on Volusia County trial, Brackett said. Subsequent jury verdict rendered December of 2023 found DCF negligent for conducting a deficient child protective investigation in response to multiple abuse reports called into the state's child abuse hotline, and for failing to protect HA or HH from abuse and from torturous hands of his mother and stepfather. Wow. Does that sound familiar? Let's read that again. Just let's take the House bill away. They found that the Department of Children and Family Service negligent for conducting a deficient child protective investigation in response to multiple abuse reports called in to the state's child abuse hotline, and for failing to protect HH from abuse from torturous hands of the mother and stepfather. Wow. You could almost replace those initials with SR. Sad. DCF had been notified multiple times that HH was being abused in her home, including the day she was admitted to the hospital. Prior investigations into the claim gained no results or removal, and HH remained in the care of her mother and her stepfather, the latter of whom had a violent criminal history and was a convicted felon incarcerated for 3.5 years before meeting HH's mother. Brackett detailed the physical injuries HH endured, many of which left her needing constant care for the rest of her life. Some HH injuries include traumatic brain damage, cerebral palsy, inability to walk or talk, eat without a feeding tube, seizures, Brackett said. She needs physical therapy, speech therapy, constant care, and monitoring and supervision, multiple medical specialists in addition to supportive care around the clock 24/7. In closing, Brackett said the bill takes a step towards making right what happened to HH and noted that it was a good start. Something terrible went wrong in this process, and the state's got to work to fix it. And we're working on that, I believe. But we let this child down, or a department of this state let this child down, Brackett said. We have the opportunity to do the best we can to make it better. This committee right now is the start of that. This politician is pushing to make sure that this child that was failed by our state is able to be taken care of properly for the rest of her life. It is a day late and a dollar short for this. I'd rather the system just work the way it's supposed to work, where we don't have 18-month-old babies with brain damage, you know? And this is the person I hail the hero in this one. And this is Robbie Brackett. He is from the Brevard County area and a politician for our state. So I think that this measure he did get right. He did get right. All right, here's kind of the meat and potatoes of our show today. And we have so much more to go over, but we're not going to have time to go over it in this hour. We're already down to the last, 15 or so minutes of the show, which no doubt we most likely will go over. But I think this is bombshell information. This is about the Bryan Kohberger case. Bryan Kohberger is accused of he was a PhD, Washington State University criminology student, and he's alleged to driving over to the University of Idaho to 1122 King Road, which is just on the out. It's not considered a school property, so they're on the outskirts of the school. They're not on campus, but it's so close to campus that it almost appears that it is. Bryan Kohberger is accused of allegedly going there and breaking into the home and murdering 4 of the 6 people staying inside that home. There's been a release of some new and updated information when it comes to Bryan Kohberger. And here it is. This is the selfie he took a few hours after committing that heinous act. And we're going to blow it up because there is a lot here, in my opinion. A lot here. And I see there are a few people that are focusing on his hands. There are some spots I'm blowing it up too much, so it's probably getting a little blurry at this point. But what people don't see, and this is about as much as I can blow it up, right under the collar. I'm gonna put this in so we can clear this image up. You can see bruising and scratch marks right here and right here on his neck. And this is new. It is still blue and purple. This doesn't even have the yellowing yet. You remember whenever I talked about Sebastian Rogers and that Optimum, and we could see the kind of the print on the Adam's apple on his throat? That was already yellowing. That means that did not happen the day before. It makes you wonder if there was a dry run with the hole, because she did the whole thing by her neck, and that's just that always just makes me not comfortable when I see that. But he had a bruise, but the bruise appeared to be yellowing. It wasn't purple. It wasn't, it was yellowing. These are purple. Purple. These are fresh. And you can see him just peeking out of the collar. Just peeking out of the collar. So this is not the best image I've got of him, but you will be observing these bruises. And if you can get a better picture, and there is one guy, I saw one that I blew up on my other computer, and I could see them. And maybe your phone might even be a better way to blow it up. Right here, right here, right here. And this face and smile. Look at how bloodshot red his eyes are. This photo creeps me out, because I wonder how many other photos he's taken of himself, in that last week. And if he took none, this is a memorization, to memorialize, in my opinion, what he did. Yeah, I saw the marks on his thumb. But the marks on his thumb could be anything. Anything. But these right here on his neck, those to me are super, super obvious. And yes, there is some bushy eyebrows here. And if you guys know anything, Bryan's defense team is trying to throw out them being able to reference bushy eyebrows, but I don't think they're going to be able to, because that's the words that the victim used over and over again. And victim being Dylan Mortensen. She is a victim. We're going to be acting as if she's a victim, because she is. She was in that house. She's lucky to be alive. She came literally 3 feet from ending her own life. Because I truly believe one of two things happened. He was either so exhausted from murdering the other 4, or he just didn't see her because his adrenaline was pumping so hard that he didn't even see her. And he just walked by her. Either way, this right here creeps me out. But I absolutely, after seeing this, the markings that I see on his neck, I absolutely believe they got the right sicko. This is pretty interesting from, I think I skipped ahead here. Did I skip ahead? I did skip ahead. I'm going to have to come back. I got to stop my screen because I want you guys to hear this. And it's not on where you can hear it, because I got so sick and tired of having audio problems and having to constantly put it back and take it down and put it back. You know how it goes. So, as you guys know, this is Ashley Banfield. Me and Ashley have a thing. We have a thing. She called me a liar and I stopped liking her. That's our thing. So, I don't really run a whole lot of Ashley Banfield stuff on my show. I really just kind of, again, I have a thing, right? But this one is pretty interesting, and I think that we're going to be able to have some decent conversation about this, because it's going to bring back some memorization from the case when we covered it, a couple years ago. So let me go ahead and put her up on the big screen. I want you guys to listen to this. It's pretty interesting. Let's chat.
I am just doing some light reading. This is one of the latest motions by Bryan Kohberger's defense attorneys in the Idaho murders case. And this one's a doozy. This is like the neuropsychological and psychiatric motion about Bryan's conditions. They say he has autism and OCD and something called developmental coordination disorder. Autism, they say.
We're gonna. Oh, you know what? Actually, let me look that up right now. Hold on. I gotta fly into this. I think it's this one. Let's see if it's this one. Haha! It is. All right. Damn, I'm good. Damn, I'm good. We didn't have something. Now we do. Okay, now we can proceed.
Say he acts differently, so don't judge a book by its cover. OCD, changes out his shower curtains a lot because of mold and wears rubber gloves.
Okay, hold on. I do got to let it set up. It's one that has a lot of ads loading, so I want to make sure I pause it before because we're going to run right into it. I'll go back and start Ashley Banfield so it doesn't have any hiccups in it. But they're going over his psychological. Oh, here we go. Ooh, there it is. Okay, we stopped it. All right. So now they're going over this. They're trying to explain why he was wearing. They have to, like, the defense has to explain all this stuff. So they have to be prepared to explain this stuff away once the prosecution, discuss it. They have to have a defense to all the weird stuff that they're going to be discussing in trial. So they're preemptively saying, trying to explain why he would be wearing gloves at his house. We have articles from his sister saying, we thought it was really odd that he just started wearing gloves all of a sudden. So now this is attributed all of a sudden to OCD. Usually people that have OCD always have OCD. I don't know. But we're going to get into this other part she's about to go into, and it's going to drive you bonkers. And I'm going to show you why.
He was caught with rubber gloves sorting trash, a couple of other things there. But then this other part, and this is the developmental coordination disorder. Okay. It turns out that cops in Idaho did a test run through the house at 1122 King Road to see if one person could pull off that many murders that quick.
Did you guys hear that? They did a test run. Law enforcement did a test run. This is a common practice. Remember, they also did test runs over in over at Sebastian Rogers' home. So let's go back just a little bit. I want you guys to hear this.
To see if one person could pull off that many murders that quickly in just a matter of minutes. And they proved it could be done. That's big. So Bryan Kohberger's lawyers are saying that according to this condition that they say he has, developmental coordination disorder, he doesn't have the motor skills and he doesn't have the physical coordination to do something like that, that speed and coordination would not be possible for him.
Huh. Speed and coordination would not be possible to him. Did they forget about the friend that ran with him? Did they forget about the friend that used to run with him? 6 a.m. You guys remember him? I never forgot about him. Because when I dive into cases and I know the case and I know the facts of the case, when crap like this comes up, especially from the defense, I remember. I sure do. Does anybody recognize this guy right here? This is what I was pulling up when you guys got there. That's how quick I was able to pull it up. I forgot to pull it up.
I would text him like, hey, you want to go for a run? We go on night runs with him because I didn't want to go running at night by myself. So I would text him like, hey, you want to go for a run? We go for 6-7 mile runs at night. So when I saw who it was, I was just saying
hold on. 6, 7, what? Let's listen to that. Let's go back. Listen to his words. Come on. Give it to me. I might pull it back. Listen to that again.
We go for 6-7 mile runs at night. So
6 or 7 mile runs a night. 6 or 7. Do you guys hear that? I just want to make sure you guys know I ain't making stuff up. That's somebody that knows him, that runs with him. Now let's go back to what Ashley Banfield's saying. Let me go ahead and pull this down. I'm probably going to lose my audio somewhere between this. I know I am. I know I am. So let's back this up for her motor skills. There we go. So let's listen to what Ashley Banfield is saying here again. Okay.
So Bryan Kohberger's lawyers are saying that according to this condition that they say he has, developmental coordination disorder, he doesn't have the motor skills and he doesn't have the physical coordination to do.
Now, doesn't it take motor skills and physical coordination to run 6 or 7 miles a day or at night? They're running at night. Doesn't it take more motor skills? Doesn't it take more skills in and of itself to run at night? I call foul on the play.
Oh, come on now. That ain't even bullshit. That's horse shit.
I call foul. That's all kinds of foul. I guess they forgot about this friend of his. I think this friend of his is going to be crucial if that's their defense. Dangerous at night, drunks. Exactly. Let's listen to what this young kid has to say about their runs. Let's just listen. It sure seems like he's got great coordination, right? Bullhorn Betty ain't running 6 to 7 miles a day. You can keep that, okay? I barely get over a mile, and I'm like, can I go home yet? Unless I'm out in the woods searching for somebody, then I'm like a lion. I'm like a wildebeest out there. But if I have to run for fun, yeah, by a mile, yeah, ain't happening. It seems like it takes a lot of stinking coordination, if you ask me. It sure does. Just lost the audio. I told you this. It can't keep up with me. This system cannot keep up with me. I don't have a problem on any other system but this one. I need to get on those other systems. Well, I'm making new intro videos and I'm keeping them, so it should be easy to build the new one back up. We're going to be on Restream soon.
Go on night runs with him because like I didn't want to go running at night by myself, so I would text him like, hey, you want to go for a run? We go for 6-7 mile runs at night. So like when I saw who it was, I was just in like complete shock. I'm still kind of like shaking knowing about that. Like it's just unreal to think somebody could actually do that to somebody. Like it's absolutely like mind-boggling. Like my adrenaline's still kind of running after finding that information out. So just I feel for the families, and I'm just happy justice can be served now. So
wow. That seems like he's pretty stinking coordinated to me. I can't remember who the prosecutor is. Prosecutor Bill Thompson. We got you a witness. Cut that crap out. All right, let me stop this and get you back on my my Windows screen. There we go. I'll keep going. We'll keep going. Evil does exist. So here's something from Jennifer Coffindaffer. It says, does your family have a family Amazon account? This is another contentious moment in the Bryan Kohberger case, because the major piece of evidence against him that connect him to this crime scene is the K-bar knife. And the K-bar knife is now potentially, breaking news. Bullhorn Betty show got another critical detail in one of the biggest cases in American history correct. This is the second time. We had Washington State University, the first media organization to show up to Washington State University to say, is it possible? And yes, we found out it was possible. That was number one. Number two that I got right was saying that when I stepped foot on, actually that was number one, the Washington State University was actually number two, but the first one was when I stepped foot on the property and did my very initial walk around. This is before I turned my cameras on. This is when I first approached it. I didn't even take my equipment out. I wanted to surveil the scene of the crime. And so I got out and I walked. It was very, very cold, slushy roads, slipping and sliding. They have an embankment that you have to kind of walk up to get to the back parking lot on the back side of their house. And so once I went and did my initial surveillance of that house and the access points to the house, that's when I determined that this is somebody that none of us are talking about. That was the first thing we got right. Everybody was focusing on these kids' friends and people at the Idaho University of Idaho. So that was the first thing we got right, because Bryan Kohberger was arrested, and again, wasn't surprised it was somebody we weren't talking about, because I told my audience when I was standing out in front of that house, it is not anybody we're talking about. I said it plain as day. Go back there, do your research. You will find out. The minute I stepped foot on there, I specifically told my audience that I believe that this is nobody that we're talking about right now. This does not feel like the kids at this school. This feels like something more. And we got that right. The second one, Washington State University. The third one. Here is the third thing that the Bullhorn Betty channel got right in our assessment of this case. I told my audience, because after I did a deep dive into Bryan Kohberger, who he was, where he went to school, who he trained under, which we all know he trained under Dr. I think she's a doctor, Rumsland, which wrote a book about BTK, a serial killer. I made the very strong opinion and theory that he most likely purchased this K-bar knife and decided to go to the Washington State University to carry out his sick, twisted serial killer mindset. I felt, because I said it over and over again, I've looked at other colleges close to his home that had better PhD in criminology programs, a lot cheaper than the Washington State University did, and it was closer to home and better programs. I said we may find out that he purchased this K-bar knife before he ever even went to his college. And there is a possibility that he purchased this March of 2022. We got that information allegedly, according to everything we're reading here, most likely right. Does your family have a family Amazon account, meaning you all use one account? It was a piece of it will be a piece of cake to prove who bought the K-bar knife. The prosecution has already said it was Bryan Kohberger. How do they know? Through financial records linked to Bryan Kohberger, clicks, computer used, and by the absence of click activity by family members related to the K-bar purchase. Hoping Bryan Kohberger's trial is not continued, he goes to trial in August. Then finally, there can be justice in the case in some form of closure for these families. And she attaches a couple of things. And one is this document right here, or a portion of the document. And this is actually appears to be a footnote. And it says the defendant touches on the issues of identifying the account user making the Amazon search inquiry as shown by the click activity. Defendant's motion at page 4. The state recognizes the identity of the user making the inquiry as relevant, and that the state intends to rely not only on the click activity, but also the circumstances to connect the defendant to the original knife purchase and subsequent search inquiries for replacement knife and or sheath. This will be included in the defendant's financial activities. The click activities, vice versa, other events, such as the homicides and related purchase activity connected only to defendant, and testimony from witnesses with knowledge that the defendant purchased a K-bar knife. So that's right here at the footnote. Sorry, I didn't realize it wasn't up when I read it, but there it is. That's the footnote of the state's response to defendant's motion in limine number 9 regarding excluding Amazon click activity evidence at trial. So they're trying to include evidence that is going to help convict Bryan Kohberger in this crime. And now that that photo is released and I see those bruises and I see those gouges and I know those have to be fresh, this only solidifies how they got, I believe, Moscow Police Department, a small little police department in this town that only has like under 6,000 full-time residents is quite profound, you know, because most of these people in law enforcement, they think they can do it better by themselves. I can tell you they brought in every single person willing to help in this case. They kept social media. They were never, ever, ever disrespectful to social media. They did say you have to be careful with what you're hearing online, which you do, because at this time there was a hugely wild speculation on innocent students that went to that school that lost their friends. It was awful. You know, social media has a lot of people get it wrong because they're too much into the clicks and views instead of the common sense or the actually analytical part of this job, which it means that you have to look at stuff, not make stuff up. And so I think that this is very, very interesting that we're finally starting to see some of the evidence that's going to be used against Bryan Kohberger, and it only supports law enforcement and their ability to get this right, because they kept out of and they kept us engaged the entire time with this huge case. They had a plan in action. They had a media plan in action. They implemented everything stellar. When they needed the help, they went to the podium and asked the audience for the help. And when they didn't need the help, they started clearing people and saying, please don't, these people are cleared. These people are cleared. Basically, don't call us and tell us about these people. We've already cleared them. So lots of stellar stuff that went on in that Moscow Police Department. They were not only professional, they were just even in when everything was going on and you seen Lieutenant Lanier or I got to see who was the one that wrote the affidavit. We just went over the affidavit. Excuse me, guys. Let me clear my throat. Brett Payne. Major Brett Payne. So, I had an opportunity to thank all of them personally for their service and very thankful for the courtesy. And this didn't go, we did have a crazy guy that had mental illness and stuff like that was, chasing down people reporting this case and trying to run them out of town and stuff like that. They did it to Fox News. They did it to News Nation. They did it to JLR. They did it to me and Olivia, and they did it to he did it to some photographers out there as well. And so I have to say that law enforcement came out. They treated us with respect, all of us, and were very, very professional, even when all of this was going on. But another statement, another post from Jennifer Coffindaffer says, a new defense document filed by Bryan Kohberger indicates Kohberger not only had autism, but that Kohberger had a physical coordination disorder. According to his Strava report, Kohberger was running 6-minute miles. It takes coordination to run that fast. It also takes endurance. Just what one would need to kill 4 young people with a K-bar knife. So even Jennifer Coffindaffer picked up on the, the issues that problems that the defense is up against when it comes to this. And it, of course, just more, going into the latest court filings related to Bryan Kohberger's upcoming murder trial, including photo evidence. Prosecutors want the jury to see in the state's response, the defense motion filed by Ada County in Idaho on March 17th, 2025. Latah County prosecutors pointed to eyewitness DM identified in media as Dylan Mortensen, who saw a weird looking ski mask wearing killer in the early morning of November 13th, 2022. That was the time prosecutors claim Kohberger allegedly stabbed University of Idaho students Maddie Mogan, Kaylee Gonzalez, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin to death in their beds in their off-campus residence in Moscow. This case, I will tell you, rocked the country. It rocked the world because everybody has children that are attending colleges or know somebody that does. And to think that your child did everything right. They went out. Yes, they drank and they may have had a little too much to drink, but they still were drinking responsibly. They weren't driving. They were together. They left the bar with another guide to make sure that they were able to walk safe and without problems. They went and ordered food. They ordered an Uber driver or a private driver to take them back to their home. They went inside their home. They were together. They were having a good night. So everything that we teach our children to do, especially when they're, um, not with us and they're out with their friends, these girls did explicitly. They did it correctly. And then they laid their heads down to go to sleep so they could get up and function the next day. And at their most vulnerable position, asleep in bed, some person breaks into their home and starts slashing them to death in their beds while they were trying to sleep. The most vulnerable, you don't even know what's happening until it's too late. It was cowardly, it was awful. And they believe that he was able to kill 4 people in 9 minutes. Alec Murdaugh was able to kill 2 people in less than 15 seconds, in my opinion. And within 7 minutes, he was covering up the crime. Things happen in a split second. So that's really all we have. What else do I have? Oh, the grinning and selfie hours after the brutal murders. That picture makes me sick. It seems like he was awfully proud that day. Oh, there is one more thing that we need to go over. It's another case that we've covered heavily, and it's the Alec Murdaugh. One of the jurors has officially started writing a book about her experience on the bench, and it's now, I shouldn't say has started, it's finished, about her experience on the trial, being a juror for Alec Murdaugh, and how she got it right. Her name is Amy Williams. She was juror 864 that listened to testimony and came to the conclusion, along with other jurors, that Murdaugh was guilty of murdering his wife and son Paul in June of 2021. Her book is named The Long Road to Justice. Detailing her time on the jury, she says she still hears from people who say the jury could not, excuse me, wish this thing would work, but it doesn't. Long Road to Justice. She says she still hears from people who say the jury could not have reached a guilty verdict in such a short time. Some people were in an uproar that it took us less than about 3 hours or less. 6 weeks. We had all the evidence in the room with us. We were all intelligent people. That's what I want people to see, that we have our own minds. We had an oath that we took, and we made our decision based on witness testimony. Williams' co-author, Shanna Hirsch, was riveted by the drama during the trial. She says the co-author in the book with Williams was easy because she agreed with the jury's decision 100%. And further states that they did the right thing, and so did the judge in the case as well. And we all kind of, I like the judge. I thought the judge was more than fair and gracious. He he withheld a lot of stuff for the benefit of Alec, that, like the financial crimes, but because of their own doing, opening Pandora's box, so to speak, you've got a situation where certain things were allowed to come in at his criminal trial that was previously ruled upon not to have any um, exculpatory evidence for or inculpatory evidence for either the defense or the prosecution. But once you open that door, you can't close it. So there is that. All right, guys. Well, that's what we have for today. We also have some updates on the boy that was last seen, Joshua Ribby, or something like that. He was with Sadiksha Kunaki. Is now returning home from the Dominican Republic. I heard that his passport was lost. Then I heard, well, he already made it back to the shores of the United States. I'm uncertain if he made it back to the shores of the United States or not, but it sounds like he has. Again, they can't keep somebody that they cannot charge forever. They had a good bite at the apple. They were able to take his passport and keep them there longer than any law would have allowed him, because had he been lawfully detained, he would have had to been charged within 48 hours. So the Dominican Republic had him longer than any other laws would have allowed them to keep him under detainment. And they weren't able to make a case or find any evidence that he had any wrongdoing, whether it's suspicious or not. No matter how we feel about his behavior or anything like that, they have to have something, and they have nothing yet. Hopefully there will be something, but if we do not find her, if she does not surface, this is going to be bad. Because then we have to look at other things, such as him being guilty of something really, really horrible. Something of hers should be found. Her swimming suit top, something. If everything is just out of the water and she's never found in the water, he was gone for 4 hours. 4 hours. So I don't want, as I said when I started talking about this case, I don't want to think any of our students would have the ability or the propensity to commit violent crimes. They seem like they're going to decent colleges. It seems like they want better for their life. It's hard to believe somebody that's striving for better would hurt themselves so much, especially, it seemed like they were kind of happy around each other. It didn't seem like there was any animosity. It seemed like they'd want to get a little closer. There was a lot going on. So I don't know. It's sad. We watched the mom unconsolable, inconsolable, her emotions uncontrollable. And that's what we see when parents truly don't know what happened to their children. And it's sad to watch. The ones that do know what happened to their loved one and are either part of it, they don't show really a whole lot of emotion. And they talk about past tense. They're too busy trying to think of ways to justify something or to take the focus off them. They forget about the victim and they forget about the showing of emotions. It's just there's too much workings going on upstairs to do it all. And when something really is a shock to you, you don't control it. There's nothing to control. It pours out of you. When you lose a child or you think your child is dead, that stuff erupts in you. There's no control when it's going to erupt. And there's definitely nothing that can stop you from showing that raw emotion. You can't tell me Riley Strain's mother didn't want to try to clean up for the audience. As much of pain as they're going through when you're in front of a camera, one of the the comments is I look awful, right? Everybody wants to look clean and pretty for the camera, and here they are, a blubbering, crying mess. And it's because you can't control it. And that's what I want people. I don't care what the defense attorneys tell you about how everybody grieves differently. I'm sorry. I've seen too many of these things where the grief is real. And I can tell you it's uncontrollable. So you either have grief or you don't have grief. A child's missing. So it was really, really, really sad. Really sad to watch. So anyways, we got it a little closer. We're right up about an hour and 20 minutes. So I want to thank you guys. Don't forget to tell people that we're going over breaking news information on the Bullhorn Betty crime story side. I want to thank everybody that came over here. Support this channel. Support my other channels all the time. I do appreciate it. You. God bless you. If there's ever anything that we need to discuss, questions you have, you can always reach out to me at bullhornbetty@gmail.com, bullhornbetty@gmail.com. And I do hope that you guys do use that with questions. We're going to be going over the Bryan Kohberger case. I've got to find a slot to dive in. We may stop the daily breaking news show to start really honing in on Bryan Kohberger on this channel and leaving the main channel for Sebastian Rogers and Crystal Rogers, because those are cases that we're covering right now, and some other cases. We also have Bullhorn Betty Coffee House. You know, we may have to use that as a daily news. We'll figure it out. But we've got to start getting reined in back on Bryan Kohberger, because this is going to be the trial of the century, I truly believe. And Bullhorn Betty and crew will be out there front and center. Front and center. We will be in Idaho if I have to drive there, because we can't afford the plane ticket, right? One way or another, we will be there for his trial. We'll get the lay of the land. This is one that we hit out of the park. Our batting average, I don't care what these yahoos out here on, the proof is in the pudding. Go back to my videos. We get so much right in our analysis of these cases. We get so much right. This is case 2 that we have covered that is fully going to trial. Leilani Simon was one. We got that case perfect. Damn near perfect. We'll say that. Damn near perfect. I don't believe in perfection. You guys know that. So we've got it damn near perfect. The things that people were saying about the case, they were wrong. We had everything right in that case. Now we're over here in Bryan Kohberger's, and so far we're getting a lot of key details in this case accurate from the beginning. We analyze these cases, we break them down, and when they go to trial, we show you how correct we were. Is everything going to be correct? No, because a lot of this is based on opinions and analysis of the facts, but we get the major stuff right. Huge, 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 grade A batting average on this show. And so I think that we're going to find out a lot of the information that you guys relied on from the Bullhorn Betty channel, as well as Chronicles of Olivia, will be no different. Oh, and Gabby Petito's. We got all that right. We were accused of planting a water bottle. Well, the parents have confirmed live that it truly was her water bottle, and they now have her water bottle. And we were criticized, and we gave them a piece of Gabby that they were about to lose forever. So, you know, there is that. It took years for that to finally come out. We told everybody, and I told people, I said, planting evidence in a federal investigation winds you up in jail. Like this, their statements on their face were false. So anyways, I digress. We're just, you know, showing that we do get the stuff right. We are breaking these cases down right. We're analyzing these cases properly, and we're telling you guys the truth. So thank you guys for being here. God bless each and every one of you. Rock it out with your coffee beans out. Don't forget to be fearless. If you see something, say something. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And until next time, please be safe, but more importantly, kind to one another. God bless.
If you shave your cooch, but not your booty hole, is that the same as a mullet?
My tongue out her ass and left. I'm on TV. Oh shit! First cops, now this.